they are in a work slowdown. I'm guessing that in general, and it varies a bit, but work is slowed down about 30 to maybe 40%, because the car buyers are not bringing in their cars. They're not doing service for the cars, the used cars being sold, that type of thing. So
you're seeing them just trying to retain their best help.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Who else do we got? Somebody else want to throw something in? That's crickets.
This is Gordon. I'll go.
Thank you, Gordon.
Get the ball rolling. So let my junior guy go to unemployment. He basically does oil changes and brakes, and no one's driving, and we're getting very, very few of those jobs. So it's myself and my lead mechanic and my office person, and we're chugging along okay. It's a little bit of a shift. We're doing a lot more work to handle how cars get dropped off and cut down on interactions with people. So that takes more time, but in general, we're keeping going forward. So that's what I got.
Thank you. Thank you, Gordon.
Are you, Gordon, do you have enough work keeping the two of you busy? Are you seeing that is even a struggle? Kind of where is that load at for you?
It's just under like full time. I've got a ton of really big comprehensive jobs I was running behind on, but the day-to-day stuff is a little quieter even for the one guy. It's not bad, but it's a little quiet.
So you'll be able to, I mean, you're in a position where, yes, there's a crunch time, but you're still able to pay bills, still continue moving forward, not take on a bunch of debt during this period.
Yeah, so far it's been okay. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you. Mute.
Thanks, Gordon.
We got some people on calls, or they're just black screens anywhere in Montana. Can you hear us?
He doesn't have a mic.
Okay.
No mic.
And we got Jim.
Hey, just if Montana wanted to jump in, there should be call instructions there on your bar, Montana. You can call in. You may have to dig around a little bit to find it, but
he's got the message bar going on the side. If you open that up and see too.
Okay. I texted him. I wasn't sure, so thanks.
How about Ballinger? I see Ballinger's on there.
Ballinger Automotive.
Unmute him.
Can you hear it?
Is that Ron?
Yep.
It's Ron and Dan. Yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. We're just getting on here to see how you guys are faring during this. We're probably down about 50%, but we're continuing to show up and do our best.
Yeah.
And you're out in Bothell, is that right, Ballinger?
Lake Forest Park.
Lake Forest Park, sorry. Well, I appreciate that. Any information and coming on to one of these meetings is really helpful. Anybody else who's calling in that somebody knows? I think we talked to Crystal. I don't know who these other people are. C. Kisk, or we got Emily on too.
Who's the Jonathan Mason? Who's that? I'm not familiar. Sorry.
That's a good question. They're just quiet. Oh well.
Just crickets. Okay.
Jonathan's on mute.
Yeah, I see. He's on mute there. So that auto works. Okay. Can you chime in there, Jonathan, or are you? Oh yeah. No worries.
That's funny.
No, perfect. That's good. At least he's going to listen in, so that's great. Haven't had AutoWorks in years, so that's great to know. So I'm going to show you guys something. I'm just going to take over. I'll say a little bit about our business, but first, here's something we're doing. We've got a cousin of my new technician. We just got this made, so this is homemade. I love it. Beautiful mask. And then we've learned that you cut this apart, It'll make 30 filters. The Bosch, but don't read it by itself. Make sure it's between cotton. But it's really good. It takes a bit to cut the lines out, but the sheet is huge. It's great stuff as long as you line it with 600 count. So they're being creative, and I like that, because you want to walk up to your advisor, your clients with a mask on, when they come in your office. Once we open our offices is our feeling. So I just wanted you guys to see that. So
you want me to talk about mine for a minute there, Glenn?
Yeah, and then you go next.
I'll give a quick update. So we've been I call it the roller coaster ride. Every week it's a new discovery. I came in last Monday, and this is pulling up to the yard, and there's one car parked out there, and I think, oh, good Lord! But it's Monday. We always fill the shop with all the excess cars and double stack everything, and so I walk around to the back of my building, open the door, and walk in, and I see one of my loaner cars in the back. Next car to that, another loaner car. Keep walking down the hall, another loaner car, and another loaner car. All in all, 5 of my loaner cars were inside in one project vehicle, and I just kind of sunk my head down and went, "Wow, this is going to be painful." And we've been pretty blessed. We had enough cars last week to keep the whole crew busy, and this week we might even hit a normal week number. So I mean, it's you're having to work for every friggin' dollar. I mean, we are literally on every channel. I don't care if it's Facebook. I don't care if it's phone calls, email. There is nothing we're not doing. We are anything that I can possibly even get wind of. I'm trying just to let the public know we're open and get that next car. And what we've really seen is our average RO go up maybe $100, and car count's still cut in half. But I mean, we're not seeing the oil change. And I think you nailed it. When Gordon said no oil changes, no brake jobs, it's pretty much all breakdown repair. And at this point, if you want to fill your base, they just have to know you're open, and they have to want to come to you. So, I think our big piece has really just been getting it out there over and over and over again, and then Facebook's been our main medium right now.
Mm-hmm.
And is everybody offering a concierge service where you'll go get your customers' cars, and are you letting your customers know about that?
Yeah, definitely.
Poor Todd, you just can't drive across that bridge.
So Gordon, you're not doing that. You're not.
Thanks for reminding me.
Not offering.
No, we haven't had to yet. They're still coming to us, so that's what we're doing.
And so what I've been doing a lot is we'll take one of our loaner cars, drive it to the house, leave the loaner there, pick up the customer's car, bring it back. That way there's a ride waiting when we could drop it off, and that way it's no contact, pay over the phone. It's it's been working out pretty well that way. The business is down, probably not quite 50%, but pretty close. Car count's way down, but like Brian said, ARO is up though, like per car. So we're getting a lot of bigger jobs instead of more smaller jobs. So we have had to put a couple people on standby and reduce some hours for a couple more just to kind of balance everything out. But week by week, it's just a new adventure.
Well, that's great. Thanks, Todd, too, for bringing that up, and all of you. If something comes up a little later, we're going to go around and do just self-introductions, just to kind of redo of this. It's kind of the normal thing, because we got people that we don't know, or if something can chime in. And then we got a disclaimer after that, Brenda, or do that first? You get this. I see this. Uh-oh.
I've got a disclaimer right here. I can read it.
Okay, good. So first or after?
You decide.
So I'll just start out first.
Oh, do it first.
Get the disclaimer done. Thank you.
First.
Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin today's meeting, we're required to remind you that due to antitrust laws, we are not allowed to discuss any subjects relating to prices charged, labor rates, or other similar subjects. In addition, the programs or speakers presented are not necessarily endorsed by ASA, nor do they express the association's views. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. So Brenda, you're up in the corner. You're first. You want to tell us who you are? I'm just kidding.
Brenda with ASA Northwest.
Glenn, Eastside Auto Works, Snow King South chapter president, and hiding in a back office in the shop. So in sunny Seattle or Bellevue, you know, nice day.
Nice.
Going across.
Todd, Swedish Automotive, here in sunny West Seattle. You can see that.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Brian Kelly, Valley Automotive over here, and it's sunny Covington as well. I'm also the ASA chair.
That's Pam.
Pamela Meyer, Eastern Washington Member Support Specialist with ASA.
Bobby, you're up. Oh, well.
Okay.
Bobby Walker here with Card Connect First Data Fiserv.
Tracy, I think you're next.
That's Tracy Franks with Tech Payments here in Issaquah.
And Dave?
Dave,
oh, sorry, Dave, go ahead.
no, you go first, Dave.
Dave at Car People Agency, allied member in Bellevue.
Dave Burnett, West Regional Membership Support Specialist, ASA Northwest.
And Gordon?
You want me? James Kirkham. We're in Stanwood, Washington from Cape Rowata.
Everyone's screens is different, right?
There's Candy
Yes.
and
So someone's gonna have to
yeah.
label it. You got Mark Simons, Ralph Simport Auto Service, Lakewood.
Very good.
Call,
Yeah,
call them out, Glenn.
If you
Yeah,
haven't
Glenn,
gone,
you
just
have to call
go.
them out.
You got to call them
Okay.
out, Glenn.
Dan Gilley.
Dan Gilley, RLO Training, Renton, Washington.
Excellent. Candy.
she's muted.
Uh-oh.
Mute, unmute.
Here she comes. No.
Speak.
No Candy. Okay, next.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Hey, Carl, normally from beautiful, sunny Renton, Washington, but I have no idea what the weather is like there because I'm in beautiful, sunny Packwood, Washington.
So we've got a Jim Kirkham. Can you hear us?
Yeah, that's me from Cape Rowata here in Stanwood.
Okay, that's Jim over there. Oh, yeah, that's right. Forgot about you.
Same one. We're the same.
Yeah, Ballinger. We got Ballinger. Throw it out again.
Yep, we're here, Ballinger, Lake Forest Park. And it's sunny.
Excellent. And C Kist. Who we got for that? C Kist.
Chastity.
Chastity.
That is Chastity. Okay. She's
Got another.
Who knows?
We got two. We got Dave and Pat's and Luke's down there. I think it is. See
Yeah,
two
we got a
different,
few more coming. Can you hear us, Dave and Pat's?
Where's the unmute?
Glenn, can you hear me now?
Yep, we
Yes.
can hear you. We can hear you at Dave and Pat's.
Okay.
Oh, Andy. All right, announce yourself, Dave and Pat, so we know who you are.
Dave at Pat's Auto Care and Crystal at Pat's Auto Care. We're here.
Welcome. Welcome.
And where are you guys located?
In Everett.
Excellent. Uh-oh. Candy, you want to try again?
Candy Jennings Malloy with Tom's Automotive in West Seattle.
Hey, it works. Good deal. All right, I see Emily. Is that the Emily I might know?
That's the Emily you might know, but I think she's on the phone.
Okay. And then who? Oh, Luke May with this beautiful picture of a very nice pooch. Who's that? Can you hear us, Luke?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes. Tell us
That's
who you
Luke
are
May,
and where are you
Quality
from?
Auto. Quality Phone Auto in Mill Creek.
In Mill Creek. Welcome. How's your day going?
It's okay.
Well, thank you for joining us. We're just doing some around the screen introductions. Did I miss anybody?
And I'm Jeff Lowell with ASA Northwest.
I figured maybe I did. Well, that's great. I think we got that all dialed in. With that, Brenda and Brian, do we have anything else to go before we jump right into Dan? Do we have any other things that we need to bring up? I think we're pretty much ready to have Dan take off, I would think, right?
Are we still on track for our rescheduled ATE?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about that a little bit.
I think Jeff and I both had a quick message. So
okay.
You want to go first, Jeff, or you want me to?
I'll go first. So I want to thank everybody for being on the call. We got, what, 26 people on the 26 people on the call. That's pretty awesome. So just so everybody's aware that the ASA Northwest staff is working out of their homes. We're not in the office. So we've posted everybody's cell phone numbers up on our website. So if you need to get a hold of Brenda, you can call her cell phone, Dave, Pamela, Carla, myself. So if you need anything whatsoever, make sure and give us a call. Update on ATE. Actually, I got an email yesterday afternoon that the hotel has been closed down now for over a month.
Whoa.
And completely closed down. They have two people working there, the general manager and his secretary. And they don't plan to open until June 1st. So they plan on reopening June 1st. So they got through and wiped down, when they closed up, they went through and sanitized everything so that when they come back, it'll all be nice and fresh. So we're rescheduled for July 31st through August 2nd at the Doubletree. And, Brenda and I were talking about this yesterday. We still have over 500 people registered to come to ATE. So we're pretty happy about that. And, most of our exhibitors are coming back. We've lost a couple, but most of them, it seems like they're all ready to come back and jump back in the game. We have a retreat set up for June 25th through the 28th at the Heathman Lodge. It looks like we may be canceling that. We have not, the executive committee has not made a decision on that yet. We're watching it day to day to see how things are going to go and when everything's going to restart. And then July 23rd, we have Family Fun Night at Cheney Stadium, and our August 12th, our golf tournament at Eagles Pride. So I want to make sure, and Brian's going to touch on this a bit, that everybody uses our website. We're trying to keep it updated daily. So I want to thank everyone for your support at ASA, because we can't do what we do without you guys. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Man, oh man, what an experience this has been, I must say. We talk about a turn, step, and total change of direction for, I don't care if it's our business, the association, anything just in society. This has been just a friggin' whirlwind. So ASA has been working overtime. We'll talk about, for me, if you go take a look at the website, if you go take a look at the information that we're putting out there, the surveys we're doing, the intent here is to take care of the members and really get information out as quickly as it comes in. If you're not already tuned into the website, make sure you pop in there and look at the COVID resource page. It has everything from the basics of protecting yourself from this virus all the way to things that you can do right now to combat all of your, you can talk about the financing options. I mean, everything you could possibly need related to this time, this challenge that we might call it, maybe even opportunity, it's all there. And that has been a sometimes hour by hour change, sometimes day by day, but Brenda, Jeff, Pam, and Dave, everybody's really been on top of that to make it happen. And when you talk about this association, you literally had everybody have to turn and create a different way of working. And I have to tell you, Pam, Dave, Jeff, Brenda, you guys all deserve a big round of applause just for getting it done for making this piece continue to chug forward. And right here, the Zoom meeting is just another example of being creative and what can we do to serve the members? How can we take care of everybody who's out there? So I really want to point that out. And then, it would not be like me if I didn't talk about something legislative, so I gotta throw this out here for everybody. ASA Washington, we were combating what was called the low carbon fuel standard. If you don't know what it is, I'm not gonna bore you to death with more information on the low carbon fuel standard. I'm just gonna say that we were absolutely active in making sure this thing didn't happen. And there was a regional piece that wanted to take over Skagit County, King County, Island County, Pierce County, and Kitsap County. And ASA, all of us within the group went and spoke on this thing, and it died. And I can tell you that there's no doubt we were a reason that it went away. If you're not already signed up, there's a website called Affordable Fuel Washington. Go in there, sign up on it, help us stop this thing before it comes back next year. No, it's no cost to you. Just get your name in there, have your employees sign up, your friends. I don't care if you share it on Facebook, but it's the low carbon fuel standard is just a bad deal for everybody, and it is not going to help our industry at all. Last thing I want to talk about really quick is what I'm going to call the member challenge. We are looking to reach out to those who don't know what ASA is, or maybe haven't had interest in joining in the past. So if you know another shop, let them know what ASA is and pass that name to Pamela and Dave. Let them know who's out there. They have some great stuff in their wheelhouse right now to bring members in. And if you're not a part of this association right now, I think there's a really good chance you might not be in business in the next 6 months. And that is just critical. You can't get the information fast enough. And I can tell you, I am a guy who goes out and I'm involved with everything in my local community. If I didn't have that arm or my ASA arm, I'd be blowing in the wind and I'd be scared out of my mind right now. So if you know anybody out there, make sure they know who we are, make sure they know what those resources are. Even more importantly, pass those names to Pamela, pass those names to Dave. Let them know who they are, because right now I really think we have a toolbox to bring them on board and take care of them. And that's what so much of this is about, and really call that the member challenge. So if you haven't done it, do it, and invite them to one of these Zoom meetings. And whether it's the King County chapter or another one, get them there, let them hear what we got going on, because it's a big deal. So that's what I had. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. A lot going on, and I hope that all of our different members that are in the outlying communities are using all the resources that ASA is putting out. It's so important. I know it can be a lot of information. It feels like kind of a fire hose right now, but I guess it's definitely what is needed. Brenda, do we do anything with Mr. Dave Burnett? You want to speak anything up on our local area for membership and stuff?
Well, I've just been I've been working with some potential members. Village Transmission, I think, is interested in membership. Reached out to him this morning, kind of conjointly. He reached out to us too, so we were kind of doing the same thing at the same time. So I put a phone call into David earlier, so I'm waiting for him to call me back. And there's 3 or 4 others that I think will be very good prospects for membership here sometime pretty soon. So right now I'm calling all the past members. I'm working with past members and giving them calls and just seeing how they're doing and how we could be of service to them. So I'll certainly keep everyone posted on those endeavors.
Great. It's amazing to hear that we could potentially help and maybe even gain some members during these times.
Yeah,
that's seriously important. What else do we have, Brian? How do we want to approach the next? Move on to our main event, or?
Yeah, and Dave has the introduction for Dan.
I do. Want me to read it?
Why do you need to read an introduction for Dan?
It's a nice introduction.
Yeah, introduce him, Dave.
I was going to have more fun just jumping in, but okay.
Okay. Do you have pictures of that 59 Cadillac, by the way?
I do not, but I was going to ask some people about some pictures because I want to know if Mark's picture that he had up earlier was his high school graduation picture. And then I was going to also point out with Candy that it's very appropriate that you have a bridge in the background because you could really use one right now, couldn't you?
Yeah, she could.
Wow.
Okay,
No, Dave, I don't have a picture of that.
No worries.
It was sold really fast when my parents figured out that I was driving it when they weren't home.
All right. Dan's automotive career began when he bought, repaired, and sold a 59 Cadillac convertible at the age of 14. Since that time, Dan has worked as both a technician, service advisor at several independent repair shops and new car dealerships. Dan's real skills were developed as an independent auto repair shop owner for over 20 years. Early in his career, Dan became passionate about learning all he could about the auto repair business. He attended seminars, business schools, and was a member of RLO's Bottom Line Impact Groups. Dan joined RLO team in March of 2003 as a full-time instructor and coach, sharing his passion with others. RLO Training. In 2010, Dan became president and owner of RLO Training. He continues to passionately work to further the automotive industry and encourage shop owners and their teams in achieving personal and professional best. Dan and his team are continually updating their multiple workshops and creating new, different, and specific courses for the industry. Dan strives to maintain RLO Training as the unsurpassed training company to provide the most profound impact on the automotive industry. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dave. So just a couple of things. Because many of you are off a little bit, if you'd like training, we are currently offering a management class every Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning. You can go on our Facebook page and register, and we are offering a service advisor class every Friday morning at 10 o'clock. And same thing, it's on the Facebook page if you'd like to register. They're complimentary. They're both complimentary, and we have a different class every week. So you're welcome to join us there. And so when I'll let me share my screen here, and when I first actually the first ASA class we did was a little over 2 weeks ago, and I wrote this for that class, and things have changed a bit in the last couple, well, a lot of things have changed in the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to go through this. This is like an outline, a checklist, and I'll make some different comments as we go along. The comments that Brian made about, I don't know how shops are going to make it without being a member of ASA. I wholeheartedly agree with that. If people aren't plugged into a resource like ASA, they're going to be struggling. And I think, as sad as it sounds, it's probably going to be a great time to pick up some members, because there's going to be some people hurting and not knowing what to do on the other side of this. So my first thing on my checklist is again, ensure safety. Now, somebody pointed out to me the other day that they didn't think that this was as serious as the government is making it out to be, and that remains to be seen. The perception that the public has is it's very serious, and so therefore you need to treat it that way so that your customers feel safe doing business with you. And again, there's all sorts of resources available on the ASA webpage, and the ones that I would probably really point you to, I mean, I'm assuming that you're doing all the sanitizing things, but the ones that you need to be aware of is what to do if somebody on your team gets sick. And it could be a flu, it could be allergies, it could be COVID, but you need to have a plan in place if somebody gets sick, and that's really important. I trust that you've all really worked on your cash flow. I had one of my group members mention to me the other day that actually this was probably a good thing, because and I'm sure many of you have had several very good years. And when we have good years, we tend to get a little complacent. And this was like a slap across the face to make everybody pay attention and look at their expenses and look at everything out there. The big thing that, on this part of the list that I would encourage you is to make sure that you, as the shop owner, keep your credit rating stellar, because if you do need to borrow, that's what they're going to look at, is your credit rating. And so again, great time to renegotiate loans if you have them, or leases, all sorts of things you can. This is a great time to do it, but work on your cash flow. And then on your inflow, make sure that you are, especially if you've got accounts receivable out there, make sure that you're in contact with your accounts receivable on a regular basis, making sure that you have all the options for people to pay for things. And I think that the payment options are going to be really more important as we get into June. Governor Inslee's comment the other day about how he was going to start to turn the dial, which would be let people start going back to work, and it was going to be a slow process. The main thing, once he lets people go back to work and they start driving their cars again, as opposed to, like I was thinking, my truck gets about 3 weeks to the gallon right now. I mean, it just sits in the driveway. I move it back to wash it and move it back in. When people start driving again, they're going to start coming into you, and you're in a great position. So the payment options are going to be much more important than when they're coming in. And I would liken the coming out of this to 2008, when we were coming out of the little bit of the recession that we had back then. So be prepared to offer your customers different ways to pay for things. I would encourage you, any way that they pay for things besides you holding accounts receivable would be a good thing. And then, of course, if you have clients that owe you money, the what can you afford strategy is really simple. It's getting a commitment to a small payment, preferably weekly, but a commitment to a payment, because the psychology is such that as long as they're paying you on a regular basis, they still feel the obligation. When they stop paying you, psychologically their obligation starts to diminish as your stress level goes up. And so $25 a week, I'm good. Just something so that they stay psychologically engaged with you on that. There have been all kinds. I mean, I've seen some articles about what a great time to borrow money. Please, taking on debt to maintain business as usual is not a good plan. There's really only two times I believe that people should take on debt in business, and the one is debt leveraging, which is I'm going to borrow this money now because I have a very high probability that it's going to give me a big return. I'm going to buy this piece of equipment because it's going to generate income above and beyond the debt payments very quickly, and I can pay back that loan. That's debt leveraging. Again, I'm cautious about that, but if in a business situation you can sometimes do the math and it works out. The other one is debt bridging, where we have a payment that is due, and we are due to be paid by someone maybe a larger amount a couple of weeks later, maybe 30 days later, and we bridge that gap. Again, extreme caution right now with all of those things. If you do have debt, this is a great time to renegotiate interest rates, frequency. If those of you that have SBA loans, you might have already seen it. You probably have 6 months of grace with SBA, and that is not added on to the end. They're actually giving you 6 months of payments, which is like finding money on the street. Again, maintain your excellent personal credit, and please avoid credit card debt. That is very, very expensive money. Remember that debt is just renting the use of money, And I'd much rather rent it for 3.75% interest than 17, 18, or 25% interest. So again, just be very careful with credit card debt. Yes, it's easy, but there's a reason that it's easy. This is a great time to do some planning. Some of you need to pull out your business plan and dust it off and revisit it. Where are we going to be in 5 years? How are we going to get there? Talking with people outside the industry or talking with people in the industry, but you need to make sure that you're not getting that tunnel vision from just being, pick on Candy again, being stuck in West Seattle. Oh my God, how do we get off this thing? You need to at least have some conversations with people outside of your business so that you can keep some perspective. I mean, again, this is a great thing with these meetings with ASA, because you get to hear, okay, so Brian's out in the valley there and his business is off a little bit, but he's working through it. Okay, so what's somebody doing in Bellevue? What's somebody doing in I mean, again, you just need to remember that you're not in this alone, and that this is just a season and we're getting through it. Your communication with your clients, more frequent, shorter communication. We'll talk about that just a second in the marketing thing, but shorten up, especially the emails or texts. And I know we've got Kukui here. They can do a lot of that. If you're using them, I mean, make those guys work, for crying out loud. You pay them all that money, make them work, right? So,
hey, Dan, can I ask one question for you? I see one thing you have in there is your biweekly financial debriefing. Do you guys have any worksheets so that those who maybe don't know their bottom dollar and their bottom line weekly, is that a tool that maybe you have in there?
Yeah, if you're a group member.
Okay.
But thanks, Brian.
I had to ask. It seemed like a lead in right there. So not to throw you on the spot. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah. Okay. The offering mix. We'll move right on past that, Brian. On to the offering mix. What else can you offer? The concierge service that you're doing now is probably going to be a big deal after this thing ends. What else can you offer? I really, I think that the changes or the challenges that we face now are going to make us better business people on the other side of this. And I think that, and again, it's just like we got 20 some people on this room here. If we sat here for 15, 20 minutes and brainstormed, the ideas would be amazing. And you need to take advantage of the relationships that you have in this industry, because I think that it's going to be different when it comes out the other side, and it's going to be better for those people who are prepared. The recession-resistant clients, again, I go back to 2008. There are some of your customers that could be in trouble, and yet there's many other customers that are recession-resistant. I have a friend who owns a FedEx route, and he's got 34 trucks right now, and if he had 20 more, he could keep them busy. That's a pretty recession-resistant business right now. There's fleet business. Anyway, I just, again, think about the other side of this. You can't shut the American economy down for 2 months and expect it to start right up. So where are going to be your opportunities? Where are going to be the people that can afford to service their vehicles and that sort of stuff? And then the transitioning 10%, I believe that the dealerships and some of your competitors who have, I mean, there are shops that have just closed. They've just said, the heck with it, and they've closed. There's going to be good clients looking for a new shop. And by the same token, you might have some less than stellar clients that this would be a great time to release them. Brian, you're smiling. The best description I heard, they're poison darts. So you can throw some poison darts out into the marketplace and let some of your competitors pick them up and run home with them all excited, because they are way more work than they're worth. And then prepare for the opportunities. And again, it's almost like they set this up for you guys in the independent repair world. Dealerships are going to be slow for a while. I don't believe that people are going to rush back to the dealership to buy cars. They might have wanted to buy a car before this started. I think they'll be very cautious and reluctant. So they're going to keep their current vehicles and service them. So there's an opportunity there. The other thing that drives our business more than anything else is cheap gas prices. If you've been following the little tiff that the Saudis and Russia have gotten into that have driven the oil prices down to $27 a barrel, which is just ridiculous. And of course, nobody's been driving, so we've got these huge surpluses. I know in Eastern Washington now they're seeing gas at $2 a gallon. So you got your hand up like are you comment?
I was just in Cle Elum over the weekend. I went camping. The lowest price, the cheapo gas like the Arco gas in Cle Elum, cash, they have a cash and credit price. Cash price $1.39.
39?
$1.39.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I wanted to go for it. I'm going on a road trip this weekend.
Wow.
But anyway.
How many of you have gotten rid of your used oil yet since this has happened?
Burned it up already.
You're lucky you got a waste oil heater, because it's big bucks right now. It costs us $400 to have our oil taken away.
Oh wow!
Let me know next time. I'll come and get it for you.
Awesome, thanks.
Okay, so really the number one thing that drives our industry is low gas prices, because people will drive. So we've got low gas prices. We've got summer coming. We've got people who are tired of being cooped up in a house for 2 months, and they're not going to buy new cars. I mean, it's if you said, gee, describe for me a scenario where I'd really want to get into the automotive industry, this is it. So be prepared for what's coming. It's going to be good, folks. On your accounting, and I'll talk about one of the government's acts in a few minutes. But this is from my accountant. He said that he said you should tell all your auto shop clients that they need to track their extra expenses because of the virus. So you've got cleaning supplies that you didn't, you've always had cleaning supplies, but I'm going to guess that you paid more for them and you used more of them in the last couple months than you usually do. You've got extra time and labor involved in sanitizing cars, delivering cars, all those things we want to track. And the reason being is because he believes that there's going to be some more legislation with regards to tax credits for your costs during this time. Your inventory, let it run down. Let the parts store keep it on their shelves instead of yourself. That frees up more cash. And then prepare for deals. And when I say prepare, make a list of the things that you would like to have or you need to have, and I'll just, an alignment machine. Okay, great. If it came on sale, at what kind of a discount would I be willing to step up? You need to make a list and prioritize things, because I do believe, again, those of you, and usually it's the people that are at ASA meetings that have been better prepared for this kind of thing where they've got some cash reserves. There's going to be some opportunities for some great deals on the other side of this. And then, of course, your planning. Again, looking back at what's happened, and I know many of you were in business in 2008. Many of you might have been in business back in '99 when we had that other little .com bubble burst, and some things happened for a while. So just, again, I would say that those are probably the most like what we're going to see, in that is a recovering economy. You'll have some folks that are still going to be struggling with their finances. They're going to need help with you offering them payments, the 6 months or 12 months, same as cash kind of offers. So you need to be ready to go, and then be looking for new client opportunities. And I would encourage, I'm a big fan of fleets. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I think that there's an opportunity to grab some fleets, and the people, it's interesting because in our groups, I've got 2 guys that kind of specialize in fleets, and both of them had record Marches and are on track to have record Aprils. Because the trucks, the fleets are having the wheels run off them right now. So opportunities out there, something to be thinking about. The taxes, which were not due on April 15th, thank goodness for everybody. But you need to treat them like they were due and put that money aside, because I'm sure the IRS is not going to be so kind come July 15th. You're going to have the money. So a separate bank account or some way of putting the money aside and just don't touch it. It's going to be due. If they owe you money, then by all means file as quickly as possible. If you owe them money, wait till the 15th. Okay, marketing. And Brian mentioned this. You need to get the message out that we are open. Many of you know Leo Bowman. I think that Leo needs to get one of those I don't even know what you call them, but they're those really tall guys. They have the blower that blows them up, and they stand out and they dance out on the corner. We could, draw one like Leo. I would say that probably Candy could get away with that too. But something on her street corner that lets everybody know you're open. Anything you can do, you got to be open. You got to, your customers. Think about, well, maybe you guys are working too much. I won't go anywhere other than the grocery store without calling first to make sure they're open. I don't care if restaurants say they're open, but they're not. So you need to make sure your customers know you're open. Social media is a great way of doing it. Text messaging. Ernie was on, many of you know Ernie from down in, I think he's in Olympia. ASA member, but he was talking yesterday or 2 days ago when we did this for the Southwest chapter about how he and his service advisors are calling all their customers and just saying, is there anything we can do for you? Now, I don't know if I'm calling all of them. I would certainly say that most of you probably follow what we call the 80-20 rule. 80% of your sales come from 20% of your customers. Definitely want to reach out to those top 20%. And then more communication, more frequent, shorter. And again, make those Kukui guys work. The texting, the emails. I would say that weekly communication, short communication would be the preferred method. But you got to get the message out there. We're here to help, and we're open. And I would also encourage you that this is not the time to try to sell things. It's just to let them know we're here to help. What can we do for you? We'll be selling stuff on the other side of this, but right now it's what can we do for you? Okay, and use your time wisely. And well, Brian, the fact that they had all those loaner cars in the shop must mean that you were going to service them, get them all ready to go. Everything should be in great shape. Your equipment, your loaner vehicles, review your business plan. Again, what's it going to look like 5 years from now? Let's review it. How are we going to get there? And recruit for talent. Now, I believe you should be recruiting for talent all the time. And I appreciate Dave that, and that's a Dave, great point about there's some of these technicians that are looking for work just until this ends. So you need to be a little bit cautious, but what a great time to find talent. There's a lot of folks out there looking for work, and then apply for the grants from the government. I know that they announced that the PPP program officially ran out of money today. I do believe that they will add more. So if you haven't applied, they'll probably add more, so be in touch with your local bank. This cloud.rlo training was where I ended the first time. That's where this document is, if you'd like to. I'll come back to that. So your brief history, the 3 acts passed in Congress in March, the Preparedness Act, the Family First Act, and the CARES Act. Is anybody else besides me surprised that they actually got 3 bills passed? Oh, sorry. I won't get too political here. The Preparedness Act is the SBA loan act up to $2 million, 3.75% interest. So if there's still money in that one, there's a $10,000 grant for business affected by the virus. They've changed it from $10,000 to $1,000 per employee in order to make it go farther. And that one you can apply for at the COVID-19 relief.sba.gov website. You fill out the form, you check the box that says you'd like the $10,000 grant. Now, there have been different, the SBA has been so overwhelmed. Really interesting here on this Preparedness Act. The act itself says that once you fill out this form and say you have you've been affected and you want the $10,000, the act actually says you're supposed to get the money in 3 business days. I do know some shops that have gotten the money, but anyway, the SBA has been quite overwhelmed. I think that, and the reason I caution you on this is apply for it. There are some people that have some papers that have come out and said that the $10,000 grant is also just an advance on the PPP Act, but we'll sort that out once they give you the money. In the meantime, I would just apply for it. The Family First, yes.
One update for you: the SBA up to the $2 million. I got a notice earlier today that the funding was gone for that as well. So
Wow.
if you didn't already have an application in, that one is gone.
Okay. Now again, I believe that they're going to add more money to both, but it is yeah. If you're in the application process, if you have already applied, you're okay. If they accepted your application, if you haven't applied, then you're going to have to wait till they refund it with some more money. The Family First Act is the tax credits. It's extremely complex. I went to my CPA and I said, would you explain this to me so I can explain it? And he talked to me for about 30 minutes and I said, okay, I'll just tell everybody to call their CPA, because it's tax credits for employee wages. It's different depreciation schedules. There's all kinds of stuff. You'll see a benefit from it at the end of 2020. The CARES Act is the one that most people have been excited about, which is the forgivable SBA loans. You apply through your bank. It is a loan to cover payroll, rent, and debt payments, up to 10 years, 4% interest. And the payroll that you incur in the 8 weeks following receipt of the loan can be forgiven if you meet the criteria. Now, we'll talk about that more in just a minute because it's kind of scary. They have not established all of that criteria yet. If you haven't contacted your bank, it's too late. They opened on April 3rd, and it's amazing. They've in what, 2 weeks, they have, less than 2 weeks, they have loaned several $billions. The states also have a program that was put up also on your ASA website. Apply for both of the CARES Act. Again, if you did, great. So let's talk about my big concern. The SBA has not finalized forgiveness terms. They had this broad outline that said, let's just say they give you $100,000 and your payroll is $40,000 a month. And so in the 8 weeks following, and it's 8 weeks following the time that you get the money, in that 8 weeks following that time, you spend $80,000 on payroll and $20,000 on other things like rent. In theory, it should be forgiven, but they've now started talking about, well, that's if you have the same number of FTEs, full-time employees, that you did in the paperwork that you filled out in order to get the loan and the documentation that you proved to get the loan. So I want to caution you, first of all, keep very detailed records of what you do with the money. If you can put it in a separate account, that would be ideal. If you can't, keep very detailed records. They want rent receipts. They want to see all of the things you spend that money on. And if you don't have a payroll service, you need to make sure that you do all the documentation, because again, you're looking for your expense on any insurance that you pay for, or medical insurance, any contributions you make to retirement, and of course payroll itself. The concern that I have is they're going to say, well, gosh, you had 6 people last year and you've only got 5 people this year. So even though your payroll is the same, we're going to take 15% of it off because you have one less. So I just want to be very cautious on how you use it, and caution you that it could be that it's not all forgivable. And so let's not run wild with this money because they haven't finalized the rules. And the 75% rule is that at least 75% of the money that comes to you on that program has to be spent on payroll. And again, without the full-time employees, if the FTEs aren't the same, and 2 part-times can be 1 full-time, but I'm very concerned that many people are going to find that they think that the money is forgiven and they're going to have to pay some back. Now, it's not a big deal. You got a 6-month grace period before you have to pay it back. It's 1% interest, but it isn't like, at this point we don't know yet how much or how to, all the rules. It's kind of scary. I've got group members that got money a week ago. So the SBA has been giving out money for over a week, and yet no rules on what you have to do in order to get it forgiven. So that's my caution. Be very careful how you use that. I mean, first of all, payroll, and keep all the receipts and all the documentation, because otherwise you could get into some trouble. I'm sorry. I'm skeptical when the government says, when somebody says I'm from the government and I'm here to help, I naturally reach for my wallet to protect it. So that's the concern. If you'd like, I've got this in a single sheet as a checklist. If you'd like it, it's at that cloud.rlotraining.com, and it's a PDF. You can grab it if you'd like it. And questions, comments?
Dan, I'd just like to say thank you. Anytime, and words of wisdom when you say, just because the government said it's free. Scary times.
I just thought, seeing Pam there just reminded me, I had a great marketing idea. It was one of my group members who also happens to be an ASA member, and he said it was okay to share it with everybody. But Kurt Stone from Highlands Garage in Kennewick. So you guys have seen that shirt, Straight Out of Compton. So Kurt had a bunch of them printed up. They say straight out of quarantine. And it gets better, Pam. And I was just thinking, I know that now Covington, this might work in Covington. I'm not quite sure if it would work quite as well and maybe, hey, West Seattle probably work because you are an island to yourself right now. But what he did was he got with a bunch of merchants. And so multiple merchants in Kennewick are selling this shirt, Straight Out of Quarantine. And the deal is that when the quarantine is lifted, if you wear the shirt into one of the businesses that are sponsoring this or selling these shirts, you get if it's a restaurant, you get a discount. He's giving $25 off any service if you wear the shirt in. So basically the price or $20 off, because the shirts are $20. So you get $20 off if you wear the shirt into to his shop for service. So those of you with a sense of humor can make it happen, and getting other merchants involved. Again, he's got restaurants, he's got different places involved, but you go on Highlands Garage Facebook page and you'll see the shirt, and it looks great. I'm going to get one straight out of quarantine, so that on May 4th I can. But I was thinking, like West Seattle, gosh, I mean, all those businesses around there, and West Seattle thinks of themselves as pretty cool and hip anyway. So
yeah, quarantine wasn't bad enough. We had to take down our bridge.
And your bridge.
We had to close the bridge.
It's interesting that you brought that up, because the Government Affairs Committee for the Chamber of Commerce, West Seattle, we're already working on a T-shirt specifically for the bridge. I suggested it say "We've got crack," but
that's good. That was really good.
Love it, Candy.
That'd be funny.
That's good.
That's like the guys who came up with that South Lake Union Transit.
The
slut.
The slut.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Candy, I think, in about a week, he sold over 200 T-shirts. So and Kennewick is Kennewick's probably similar in size to West Seattle.
yeah, the Chamber's hoping to use it because we need to do something to raise money now, because we've lost all of our events. So we'll see how it goes. Either that or I'll have to partner up and come up with our own idea.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, again, there it is. Thank you.
Yeah, quarantine. Good. That's good. I like that.
That's
Dan,
awesome.
that's excellent. Thank you so much, Dan.
You're welcome.
Always good news out of you. Good information and fun too. You like to sneak in some fun. Hey, Rolf's got a hand up. Clap. That's good. Thanks, Rolf. Thanks, Mark. I mean, and Todd, is that a raised hand or is that a?
Yeah.
Okay, I got.
So I just wanted to dovetail onto what Dan was saying, and looking for good news, because he was talking about how optimistic we should be on the backside of this once we come out of it, because of all the opportunities, and I totally agree. And I cut out an article that was in the paper. I don't remember who wrote it or which. I think it was from the AP or from another large national paper, about the automotive industry and how nervous the dealers and everybody are because of what's happening right now that no one's talking about, because it doesn't really matter to most people. But the inventory of used cars is piling up because they can't have the auctions. And so the auction lot, the big auction lots, they're talking about when Enterprise, Hertz and Avis and all these cars, when they unload their fleets, they're not able to right now. And so the auction houses are getting stacked up with tons and tons of cars. And so what they're anticipating is a crash in used car prices, because they're going to have to unload them when the opportunity is, they're going to have to unload them cheap and unload them quick. And so this is making, of course, the manufacturers nervous. The finance companies nervous because they're not selling new cars. The manufacturers aren't going to be able to sell new cars because there's so many good used cars. But I also see that as a positive, because there's going to be a lot of better used cars on the road for us that are going to need service in the next 5 to 6 years, And so if more people can afford to buy a better used car, we're just going to have better quality cars to be working on, and they're going to come to us for the service. So I was trying to take a positive out of that. It's not good for the dealers. It's not good for the manufacturers, finance companies, and or the rental companies. But it could be really good for us, though, I believe.
I think you're right, Todd. I think anytime you can expand the volume of used cars out there, I think it'll be a good thing. Just to piggyback a piece, you reminded me of this. ASA National is currently fighting a push to get cash for clunkers back out there. So be aware that's going on, and be aware that ASA is fighting that, is trying to stop that from happening. So that's another piece. And when you talked about the used car piece, that immediately came to mind. But as always, ASA, when it comes to legislative on the national side, that's where the money's at. That's what we pay for. So know they're working hard for you.
I'm glad you said that, Brian, because I've read about that in Europe, that the Europeans are talking about that. So to help restart their car sales. So it would be nice to push against that. And I totally agree. I just wanted to say also to the new members, or not new members, but new to us in our chapter, you're logged onto this meeting. Brenda sends out the list of all the chapter meetings. Get on another one in 2 weeks when they start up again, or however soon the next one is. Don't hold back, because anybody can be on this. Stay informed. The speakers that are available, these are shorter meetings technically than in the evening, and just there's so much information. So I hope I'm correct on that, Brenda, that it always comes out wherever you are. And I just really appreciate everyone's time. What a great meeting. If anybody's got anything else, throw it out.
Dave here, Car People. Just want to say truly appreciate ASA, Jeff, Brenda, Dave, and you, Glenn, for the meeting here today. I think it's very valuable to stay in touch, and the comradeship, in my case, is greatly appreciated, and you definitely have a valuable tool here, and I appreciate it all.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Brian and I were talking just before we got on this call, about 9 minutes before we got on this call, and going to look at setting up a total membership webinar sometime next week. It looks like maybe the 22nd. That's what Brian and I talked about. So Brian, do you want to touch on that just a little bit?
Yeah. Oh yeah, happy to. So basically what our thought here is, we're going to do a total membership meeting. We're going to take 4 or 6 of us, almost like a panel, and talk about the issues that have come up in that survey over and over. And the idea there is bring what our members are looking for in one setting for everybody, have it open for question and answer. Brenda's probably going to be doing the hard work. She's probably going to be going through the comments and questions and getting them back to us. So, as always, she gets it all done. So it'll be a good thing. I'm excited for it. And I think, again, just a really good chance to learn a little bit more about what we can each do and what's going on around us, so it's an exciting thing.
Make sure that when you guys set that up, that you use somebody's Zoom account that has a 300 member limit, instead of, like, there's a lot of Zoom accounts that have 100 member limits. And so all of a sudden you put together a big webinar and then boom, nobody can get in.
Right.
No, we've got 1,000. I think we're limited to 1,000 is what we're at, Carl. So I think we're in good shape. But thank you. I appreciate you pointing that out.
Let's hope that 1,000 people
attend.
We could. Yeah. We're actually going to send it out to. We're going to send it out to our whole Dateline publication. So there'll be non-members on. There'll be members on. Just learning what everybody's doing, and we want to facilitate that, because it's so important that everybody knows what's going on and everybody learns from everybody else. So, Mark, you had your hand up.
I just wanted to say, on the meeting, when you're going to have people that many too, I'd really suggest doing it at a time that isn't like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 10 o'clock in the morning, because that's probably the busiest time when you have all these meetings going on, and you'll see crashes and communication problems. So you might want to, maybe sometime in the afternoon or something, after the East Coast is closed.
Say 4 o'clock or something.
Something like that. I'm just suggesting, because when everyone's on them and you start getting 100 people in a group, it will start to mess up.
Good point. Okay. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, we're not the only ones trying to have big meetings.
No, not at all.
Right.
but we're ready to come out of this thing forging ahead. The president's club of this and the upper echelon have meetings every week, which is blowing my mind. So we're all doing this together, and I don't want any smaller shop that doesn't think maybe there's something going on for them. It's here for anybody. Exactly. So this is great news for next week. I had no idea. Thanks for the surprise.
All right. Thanks.
And stimulus checks.
Thanks again, Dan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks,
Good
Dan.
afternoon.
Thanks,
Indeed.
everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.